And here we are going live. It is 7:28. 12 seconds. Nobody's on here. Okay. Welcome to my home studio, otherwise called the laundry room. If I put this finished video on my YouTube page, I may leave it up for a week, then delete it and offer another seminar class again. I'm getting used to looking at things on the screen so I can get practice. Got to start somewhere. Okay. $7:29. We're going to start promptly and get right to it. So thank you for being patient. Just watching the clock. It's the longest minute lately. 7:30, here we are. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me today. This is Turn the Tide. It's a seminar I'm introducing. And what is the tide? TIDE, the inefficient distribution of energy. This is probably the short answer to everything. Where are you putting your energy in your life? What do I want you to get out of this seminar? 2 things. But first, do no self-harm. If you've got good information, you'll make good choices. If you have bad information, sometimes you make bad choices. So let's do things that are more positive and life affirming. Number 2, the second thing I want you to get out of this seminar is enjoy life without medical baggage. And if you don't know what I mean, maybe as you listen to the seminar, you'll understand. It'll jump out at you. So I am a chiropractor, and I adjust the joints of the body, focusing on the spine, which is the lifeline. Why get adjusted? Here's the simple answer. You get adjusted if you want to be a productive participant in the world. It's that simple. I hope everybody wants to be a productive participant. I'm practicing here. Sorry. Oh, yeah, maybe I can edit that part out. So we'll see. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. The spinal joints are my access points to your brain. I adjust the spine, and it's a reach. It's an easy reach and very profoundly, positively impacting on the brain. And then the brain directs the body. You're changing your brain every day of your life, just so you know that. Every experience, every exposure trains your brain. You can be deliberate about that brain training, and chiropractic is also a tool. So you can be deliberate about your brain training. And as you are trying to change habits, reinforce new things, learn new things, which is brain training, chiropractic makes it happen faster. That's the neat thing about it. So I call myself a brain-based chiropractor because the brain is first, body follows. There are 4 basic habits that influence your brain. Write this down. These are the 4 things that If you concentrate on them, you're going to have a healthy brain and a healthy body, which would be these four things. Write them down: mindset, mobility, nutrition, and sleep. Sounds simple, but that is part of the brain budget protocol. Near the end of the seminar, I'll touch on that a little bit more. But right now, let's get on with the body language switch. Um, what what came about the body language switch? I want you to change the language you put on your body, because your body is talking to you and your body is making sense. The body language shift came out of necessity because in practice, around the 10-year mark, I was just getting frustrated with the same old things that were appearing before me. And this really told me what I learned in the textbooks, everything that I was studying and cramming for, all these disease names and labels. Um, they didn't match reality in the office. So I had to come to terms with that. I had to make peace with that. And so that's the body language switch. I had to switch from a language that was frustrating, confusing, and demoralizing, and switch to a language that made more sense with the body. So people come to me, and this is how chiropractic has evolved. I don't think it's a positive thing, but it's always about neck pain, back pain, sciatic, and headaches, which is very limiting. There's a whole lot more chiropractic can do because the brain, we're influencing the brain, and the brain influences everything else. But people would come up to me and say, I have arthritis on my x-ray. And after a while, it got to the point where I was saying to myself, so what? What are you going to do about it? You got to live your life. And then I got to a point where I would say to people out loud, so what? So what? People come up to me and say, I have an autoimmune disorder. So what? This, I don't, it was very hard to watch people suffer, and they put that suffer upon themselves. And I'm here saying, let's adjust your spine and release the stresses that are hindering you. But as long as you keep saying, I have an autoimmune disorder, you're not going to change. You're stuck. You're stuck in a holding pattern. People say to me, well, I have bone on bone. And now I say back, not really. And we have to describe it differently. Otherwise, we're stuck. And demoralizing. We can't have that. That's just not why I became a chiropractor. Describe it differently and put an end to the contradictions. There's proof in your own life. Things don't add up, and you have examples in your own life. Just think about it. Make a mental note. But bone on bone, that's contradictory. That's not accurate. And a disc herniation being wear and tear, it's not wear and tear, although that's what I was led to believe, but it's not. Inflammation, it does not cause disease. Inflammation is not it's not presented to us in a way that's accurate to anybody in college, or you as a patient or a customer. A fever serves a purpose. Do we call it bad or good? It serves a purpose. Let's just say it's purposeful, and let the body finish. Let the body do the job. Cholesterol. Is there bad cholesterol? Is there good cholesterol? Can we just say it's cholesterol? Is there bad bacteria or good bacteria? Can we just call it bacteria? Please, please, because this is getting to be over the top. I just read something a few months ago where now blood pressure of 115 over 75 puts you at a risk for stroke. So high blood pressure, low blood pressure, why are we putting ourselves in such a strict box where there's no room for improvement, there's no room for breathing, there's no room for debate, there's no room for you being, you know what you are, you know what's best for you. And the labels, I'm not a fan of the labels. Um, and guess what? Being held hostage by the disease model is fully voluntary. So um, let's do a little language switching. Let's do the body language switch. So the definition of disease is a disorder of structure or function. It has distinctive groups of symptoms and signs and changes in the anatomy. Often there's a known cause. That's the definition of disease. And the first word, disorder. Why do we have to call it a disorder? What if the body is doing something very logical? Let's change the label. So let's get this chart that I told you to get from. I told you to get a screenshot of this chart, but here's how we switch the body language switch. What is the body doing? Well, everything the body does is logical and necessary for the situation. So yeah, we can look at our situation, see what we can change, what can we improve upon. But let's look at what the body's actually doing. You want to have daily demands being manageable. That's the top of my chart here. That's what we want. I guess the other definition would be disease-free or symptom-free. Just having a good time, managing every day, having enough energy. Having the energy to accomplish your goals is on my chart here. Now, things happen in life. We have challenges, we have stresses, we have emergencies, we have needs that have to be met right away, and the body prioritizes. If there's something more immediate, it's going to take care of that issue. So that's when your body goes into fight or flight. Whoop, here we go, fight or flight. And that's when you've got the increased heart rate, the increased respiration rate. You have insomnia. You can't sleep because your body needs to be awake, alert, ready. You're problem solving. Your hands are going to be cold and clammy. That's a protective mechanism that the body uses during the fight or flight response. And your blood gets thicker too. That's part of a life-saving response as well. Your digestion's on hold. Your detoxification is on hold. And they're delayed until you get out of fight or flight. Oxygen shifts from the front of your brain to the back of your brain. That's the fight or flight area of your brain in the limbic system. So front of the brain shuts down. It's not a good time to make decisions. It's that's executive function. That's problem solving and new learning. But fight or flight is not new learning. That's primal instinct. And when you're in fight or flight, your body reverts back to primal. We're going to save your life no matter what it takes. We're going to get you out of danger no matter what it takes. And that is the limbic system of the brain. When fight or flight ends, and our goal is to end it quickly, because if you're in fight or flight too long, then you're draining your energy, depleting your energy. You're in an energy crisis. We want to get out of fight or flight and get to the remodeling, replenishing phase. And during that phase, you're paying back what stress took. That's when you need a lot of rest. You're rebuilding muscle tissue. You're replacing bone tissue. You're replacing a lot of your body because the energy was burned off so quickly. And during this time, we have to rebuild what broke down and break down what built up. And the fight or flight sets off these responses. Cells will increase to meet a demand, and cells will erode to meet a demand. It just depends on what part of the body we're talking about. That's for later on in seminars when we get a little more specific. So in this remodeling stage, and I don't like to say rebuilding or repairing, because your body isn't broken. It just had to use up energy and use up tissue. And now it's remodeling itself to get back to daily demands being manageable. So if you lost bone cells at the joints, now the body wants to rebuild those bone cells at the joints. Now, what happens during this phase? Fluid is moving, because that's how we replenish and rebuild and remodel and heal. I don't like to use the word heal, because heal means something was damaged and now it's got to be repaired. But in the body language switch, we are We're just replenishing what was used up. So fluid moves, it's painful. When you have inflammation and swelling, that's painful, but that's part of the remodeling process. It's necessary. Every time your cells burn energy, there's waste products, and you need to get rid of them. And that's the fluid you're feeling. And if you're in fight or flight for a long time, those waste products have accumulated. Now we got to get rid of them. That's very palpable. You feel it. And that is part of the body finishing the phases. You're going from one phase to the next phase in order to get back to daily demands being more manageable, not over here, fight or flight, burning energy. And over here, we're replenishing our energy. So this is when you have in the remodeling, replenishing phase, this is when you have swelling, itching, soreness, fever, pain, cramps, headaches, stiffness, tightness. You're hungry and you're sleepy. So this is when you feel run down. You have what traditionally you would call a cold or the flu. Your body is just asking for extra rest. So you get a lot of sleep and you're replenishing. Hopefully you're getting hydrated and you're replenishing your body. It's just remodeling itself, replenishing itself. I don't want to call it something negative. I don't want to call it a disease. It's just a part of the phase. You're either in survival protection or you're in remodeling and replenishing. And your body does that all day long. Some days a little more challenging than others, but if we pay back what stress takes, then we're doing fine. If that fight or flight lasts too long, if you're really draining your energy, you're going to end up over here, freeze or faint. And so that is an example, an animal playing dead in order to wait for the right time to run, wake back up and run to safety. That's freeze or faint. And when we are in freeze or faint because we're so energy depleted, we have exhaustion. The body's almost in hibernation. It's a conservation period. Your body's waiting to get its energy back so it can join the fight again. Because if you're over here in freeze or faint, if you're in freeze or faint, you got to get your fight back before you can go over here. So this is extreme exhaustion. And a lot of times there is chronic pain because we're so depleted. We're depleted of nutrition, we're depleted of sleep, and just depleted of energy. You have excess sleep, you don't feel rested. There's depression. Your body's depressed, it's slowed down. And then your emotions might be depressed as well. And your social engagement is going to be depressed because you will want to be isolating yourself and staying, avoiding other people as a protection mechanism in that state. And your organs are sluggish because now the toxins might be building up more because the body hasn't had a chance to get rid of them and replenish. So that's one end of the cycle. So we want to get rid of that end of the cycle where we're so energy depleted. We got to catch up. You have to pay back what stress takes. And all health concerns are a matter of energy management. And you can manage your energy. It's not all out of your control. Yes, fight or flight is a primal instinctual process in our bodies. We need it, but we don't need to abuse it. We don't. Remember the story, the boy who cried wolf? We don't need to cry wolf all the time. So that's the fight or flight chart. And we can use that to change our language. We can shift and switch some of our language here because all the disease names, they fall in this category. Fight or flight, let's see, fast heart rate, there's a disease name for that. Your breathing is changed, there's a disease name for that. And in the freeze or faint section, that's what we would call that diabetes, low blood pressure, even maybe POTS, depression. And so we don't need to use all these disease names because, like I said, they're demoralizing. And that takes away your energy even more. It's another way to deplete your energy by feeling frustrated and confused and demoralized. So If you can pinpoint where you are, if you can say, well, right now I'm feeling like I'm in fight or flight. I need to calm down. I need to remove myself from the situation. And if you say, well, I'm thinking I'm a little bit in freeze or faint, I just don't have the energy most of the day. And I just want to sleep all the time. And I don't feel rested even when I do get a lot of sleep. So if you can recognize where you are in these phases, you can do things to help yourself. And one of them is chiropractic. Chiropractic can help boost this remodeling and replenishing phase and calm the fight or flight phase. And even when you're in the freeze or faint, a chiropractic adjustment can help kick you back into fight or flight. So wherever you need less energy, chiropractic calms that down. If you need more energy, chiropractic boosts that up. And that's the neat thing. That's what makes chiropractic a profoundly uh, important tool in your brain budget protocol. So, um, and the secret to the brain budget protocol is just um, figuring out, deciding how can you best replenish and remodel. Help your body do the job. Your body's good at it, but how can you finish the phase and let your body do that without interrupting it or adding more fear or adding more stress or putting yourself in an energy crisis. And how do you protect that fight or flight response? We don't want to ration. We don't want to ration it. It's always there and it's going to act no matter what. That's your inborn primal instinct of going into fight or flight. But sometimes we modify it. Remember in the beginning when I said that you are training your brain with every exposure and experience, you train your brain and your brain saves that in the memory bank so it can utilize it later on. When something similar happens, your brain says, oh, we did this before. Let's kick into fight or flight a little bit faster. And that's where we can run out of energy because now that's very draining. And so we want to reserve our fight or flight response for the true survival needs of the body. But and so we have to finish the phases. Now I sound like a broken record. We don't want to be in fight or flight too long because excessive fight or flight is going to be very draining. And we want to be in the replenishing phase um, long enough. It needs to be adequate. We need to replenish enough. We need the right amount of nutrition, the right amount of sleep, because if that's not enough and you go back into fight or flight, that's a vicious cycle and you're just going to feel more worn down. And so we want to do more of the brain budget protocol. So this is the part where your nervous system is unique to you. So I can't go into specifics here because everybody's different. And the four the four things you can really concentrate on to help yourself is mindset, mobility, nutrition, and sleep. Those four things is will give you a well-rounded approach to addressing the the brain budget needs of your body. So you've got the body language switch so you have more confidence. You know your body's not failing you. You are not a mistake, mutation, dysfunction, or disease. We know that. You don't have a disease, you have a nervous system. And that's the body language switch. Just switch your words, switch those labels, and you can always switch back. And so the brain budget protocol is concentrate the energy where it's needed because like I said at the beginning, your body's going to prioritize. And that means digestion might be delayed, detoxification might be delayed. And a lot of the issues when people say, "Well, I've got this problem, I got that problem," it's because they're so fatigued that their their body systems can't catch up. So that's the short version. And if there's any questions, the chat box is open. And if anybody wants to ask, and now I can't see. Oh, there's Kathleen. Kathleen is here. So um, I don't know. What time did you hop on? Are you on right now? Ah, so My goal, like I said, is help people not do harm, do no self-harm. And like I said, information that may not be accurate will make you do things that may not be the most healthy. And the medical baggage, um, I don't want you to be deciding how to live your life around your medical baggage. I want you to enjoy life without it. And if the labels don't describe you, if the disease language doesn't describe you, feel free to give yourself a different language. And that's the body language switch. Switch it. I want you to have confidence. I want you to understand that everything your body does is correct for the situation. Even if it's painful, it's doing something that your body needs. But we can balance that out and give the body what it needs. So look for the next seminar. I'm going to try to plan a different way to present the information. But like I said, your nervous system is unique to you. So how you handle your mindset, mobility, nutrition, and sleep, those are needs unique to you. And if you want to know how you've modified your nervous system in ways that may not be um, enjoyable for you, if you've given your brain patterns that you don't like, we can use the body language switch and the brain budget protocol to put new learning into your brain. We can teach the brain new tricks. And that's the cool thing. The spine and the brain can be taught new things. That's the whole idea of neuroplasticity. So I'm going to end. How long have I been here? 26 minutes. Not bad. Just talking to myself. And look for the next seminar. Thank you for watching.